This roundabout should work, but it doesn't. On paper, it handles everything: traffic, buses, key connections into the city. It even looks the part. But the longer you watch it, the more it starts to fall to pieces. Congestion at the wrong times and awkward merges, buses fighting just to get through. And none of that comes down to one big mistake. It's all small decisions layered over time. So today, instead of building something new, we're gonna go back in, optimize the roundabout, extend our bus lines, and add proper bus priority where it actually makes sense. Because if we get this right, a lot of the city starts moving differently. Welcome back to Sunny Isle. Hi everyone, and welcome back to Sunny Isle. We're down near the roundabout gyratory making some improvements. I've been making improvements to this roundabout over a few episodes, and over time this line work was all over the place. So I'm redrawing it so that we signify that vehicles should not be stopping over the top of the tram tracks. Looks good. But we are facing a lot of issues at the roundabout, and I'm hoping to address those today. We do get quite a few accidents through here. It's just the nature of the area. We have a lot of throughput. I think the condition of the roads are still in a pretty good spot. We'll have to have a look at the road maintenance garage at some point to see if we've got enough capacity. Half the time, especially during rush hour, even though this isn't rush hour, this is 8 o'clock at night, we're seeing a lot of congestion. And I think one way to improve it is to introduce a slip road coming from Cherry Street onto Phoenix Bridge Road. So we're going to go ahead and downgrade the initial slip road that's connected to the roundabout down to a single lane road. And then we'll draw a new road that's parallel to the entrance to the roundabout that runs alongside the car park, the gym, and the retail unit. And that should help people get into the city and bypass this intersection altogether. So I'm going to be using some of my custom roads through here, a little bit slower than highway roads. They're 50 miles per hour, and some of them use sidewalks to allow people to get around the roundabout so they're not walking on the edge of the road. So let's go ahead and update this road, reducing it down to 2 lanes. Let's grab this single lane road and drag it along the edge of the road here, and then we'll use the curve tool and swing that into the connecting road that leads you up to Phoenix Bridge. We want to be careful not to connect to the intersection that's actually on the roundabout, and I think that looks good. We just need to tweak it a little bit. But first, let's go ahead and connect it into the main road, and we should start to see some vehicles using it. Okay, time for a little bit of cleanup. Using the upgrade tool with the snapping turned off, let's drag this road a little bit closer so it looks like it's all one piece of asphalt, which we've then gone ahead and separated using some line work, and eventually we'll put some concrete blocks. Okay, that looks pretty good. We don't need this road connected to the slip lane anymore. Since it's just coming onto the roundabout, we'll keep those lanes going straight on, and we'll spread them out over a few different lanes. And those that are coming off the roundabout, they can have a dedicated lane that leads straight into the city, and then we'll use the rest of these lanes to stay on the roundabout. And for good measure, we're going to go ahead and upgrade this to a 2-lane road just to increase the capacity through here, since I imagine there's quite a lot of people that just want to head straight into the city and bypass the roundabout altogether. As those roads come together, let's upgrade this to a 3-lane road. Although I can imagine there's going to be some issues with weaving there, so we may need to address that shortly. To update this intersection just to make it look a little bit cleaner and to stretch out some of those segments, allowing a few more vehicles to wait behind the traffic lights without having to block the intersection. But doing so means that our line work is all out of place, so while we remember and while we're here, let's go ahead and replace it and make sure that nobody's parking over those tram tracks. And using Node Controller, I am going to stretch a few of these intersections out just a little bit to make those turns a little bit smoother. Okay, that looks pretty good. We'll get the bucket fill tool in and fill that, and then we'll put another one of these no entry boxes up on this intersection as well. And it's quite nice that the actual mechanic of the game prevents vehicles from blocking intersections, so it's almost like these are functional, although they are just decorative. Okay, let's go ahead and separate these roads with a concrete barrier and make the division from the slip road to the roundabout a little bit more permanent. And holding down Control, we can actually adjust the curve of the line tool and make that exactly how we like. Now zooming into that little intersection by the firehouse where we've got the slip road heading into the city, I noticed that the road had these giveaway lines on. We don't want any vehicles yielding here. If they're coming off the roundabout, I want them to have priority, and I think using the traffic tool just fixes that nicely. I did notice that this intersection did have quite a few vehicles making turns that are not the most desirable, so I do remove a few of them, not quite all of them, because I do want emergency vehicles to be able to make these maneuvers if they need to. Okay, I think that's pretty good. We just have to let the traffic adjust itself, and I think we'll have to monitor this area. Looking at the roundabout overall, I can see that we're moving a lot of traffic now. We're heading into rush hour, and I can see that things are working, although I think we could improve it just a little bit, especially when it comes to our buses. You can see as they come around the roundabout, they have to make a sharp left, and that means they have to cut across 2 lanes of traffic just to get to this side road, which I don't think is the most efficient use of these bus lines. So we'll just bring that down to the main road. And since this road doesn't actually have that much standing traffic, we'll allow the buses just to stop at the side, and any vehicles that get stuck behind should be able to move to the next lane to move past. And this line looks a lot better now that it connects straight into that road. And this one terminates at the bus station, and it looks like we've got quite a lot of transit lines through this area. It's quite difficult to see what we're doing, so we'll toggle the tab, and then we'll specifically look for this bus line, which is called Newbridge to the Solar Hill supermarket. And yeah, this isn't right. It's heading up the bridge and then making a U-turn. I don't know why it's doing that. I think we must have our lane connections messed up somewhere. As suspected, it looks like we're missing a left turn here, and doing so fixes that transit line perfectly. Okay, so this bus heads into the bus station, heads around that little pedestrian square, and then heads out back to the roundabout, and then shoots up along the city into the supermarket area. I have noticed that this bus doesn't really get that much use, so I think today what we could do is we could expand it into the industrial area and then down into the warehouse district, maybe make a stop down at Chinatown where we've got a few different transit lines intersecting. At the moment, the terminus is just outside the supermarket, but I think we could move that over to the side road. We don't necessarily need it to stop right outside. Got quite a lot of pedestrian access through here, especially down at that little intersection near the high school. And if we have a look at the industrial area, we can see we don't have any transit lines through here. So I think bringing a line or extending this line through the area may serve the businesses, may serve the people a little bit better, but also makes this line a little bit more useful instead of having to cut it. So using the move tool, let's head over to this little side road here and plop that on this road where we've got a little bus bay. I think that's quite nice. And then let's go into our transit menu, and I think I'm going to use one of these bus shelters that come with the bike racks, and then we'll place that on the opposite side of the road here. Let's go ahead and connect that in using our route tool and evaluate what's happening to the end of the bus line. Looks like at the moment it heads up to that little roundabout and makes a U-turn and then heads back down. Okay, so with that in place, let's go ahead and add a couple of more stops in the next part of the build. Again, I'm going to use one of these bus stops that come with the little bike racks, and then we're going to place this at this little section of the industrial estate where we've got quite good pedestrian access with this little pedestrian crossing there. And then we'll place another one on the opposite side of the intersection. And I like to do this so when the buses arrive, and drop off the passengers, and when they leave they don't need to stop at traffic lights again. They only have to stop once to load and unload, and then they can continue onto their journey. And then the final destination will be down the warehouse district, where we've got a tram line and a bus line nearby where people can make transfers, and we'll connect that up using the route tool and hide some of these other lines, see what we're doing using the toggle all button. I'll find it eventually, and we can see that this is making a really nice short turnaround at the end of that square there. So let's go ahead and update the name of this line to reflect its new route. Starting at the bus station, it bypasses the supermarket, and then it goes into the warehouse district. And hopefully we'll see a little bit more usage along this line, since it caters for 2 neighborhoods now, one at each end of the line, one near the bus station and one near this terminus. And if we have a look at the route from above, we can see that it cuts through the industrial area and then heads back up to the bus station, an area that's usually underserved by public transport. But we do have this intersection here which isn't allowing buses to turn, and that's because we've restricted traffic from not doing right turns, and that's just to make this intersection a little bit more efficient, and also to prevent vehicles from taking a shortcut along that road that's near the supermarket. But I do want buses to come through here, so what we can do by jumping into Road Builder is convert this third lane into a bus dedicated lane and create what is essentially a bus gate. So it only allows buses through when there is a turn light, and that should make bus lines a little bit more attractive because they are taking a shorter route than regular vehicles, and they're not having to fight through traffic, having to go up to the roundabout and back down again. Let's go ahead and update this intersection to use split phasing protected left, so that we can get those buses through here without having to fight oncoming traffic. And since we're using a split phase light here, we may as well let vehicles that are coming from the highway make a left turn into this small industrial estate that we've got on this side road. Okay, so we'll just finish off this little area by cleaning up the lanes, maybe use a little bit of node controller and make these connections a little bit smoother. Okay, so the new line is up and running. I'm not seeing that many buses being sent out, so maybe it's not that popular yet with local people, but I can see we've got a new bus here, so let's have a closer look at where this is heading. And I really love these buses by Unmaestro. Absolutely fantastic model, and the fact that they work on a left-handed city makes me even more excited to see what's coming down the line. Okay, back up to this roundabout, and I can see we've got a pretty bad backup of vehicles trying to head into the city stuck on the roundabout. And I think the issue is we're only allowing one lane of traffic to come off the roundabout. So instead of having the 2 lanes on the slip road, I think we're going to flip it. Let's have 1 lane on the slip road, and then we'll turn the roundabout exit slip road into a 2 lane. So that should allow a little bit more throughput, especially for exiting vehicles, and that should prevent some of the weaving as well as they enter into the city. And let's make sure we tidy up our props. This little concrete barrier can just be shifted across a little bit, and then we'll add a few extra on the end to make it look nice and clean. And we can even imagine maybe this was a mistake on the city's behalf, and they've had to come through here with some construction vehicles and just move it around, and that's why it's not so perfect looking anymore, because it's had to be adjusted over time. And I think that's looking pretty good. Looking from above, I can see we've got a lot of throughput now. There's not too much standstill. I think the roundabout is pretty much optimized as best as we can at the moment. Not unless we go into full custom light phase mode, and I'm not sure if I'm ready to get really stuck into the weeds doing that. We do have one problem intersection though, and that is the highway exit road. And I think the issue is the fact that this segment coming off the roundabout is a little bit short, and it's also been interrupted by the tram level crossing. So I think there's a couple of things we can do here. Again, we're going to go into node controller. We're going to stretch out some of these segments. That should help a little bit. Okay, I am seeing some issues coming up, and I think it's related to our custom traffic lights. So the tram level crossing is sometimes turning red, even though we don't have any public transport coming through the area. So I think to make things a little bit simpler, we're just going to remove that traffic light from the traffic light group, and we'll just keep it as a single custom traffic light for those coming onto the roundabout. There we go. So the level crossing should only turn red if there is a tram coming through. Okay, it looks pretty good. So traffic has cleared up for the most part, but we do have a little car accident up here. You can't win them all, can you? Okay, to keep things simple, I think I'm just going to remove the custom phase at this traffic light. Doesn't really seem to be necessary anymore. We'll just convert this into a standard split phase traffic light, and hopefully that should keep things moving. Okay, so looking for more backups, I can see that Phoenix Bridge is backed up all the way over the river, but it isn't necessarily because of the roundabout. I can see we've got quite a bit of capacity outside this medical facility. So I think the issue is further up the pipeline. Yeah, specifically, I think this intersection here where we're allowing vehicles to make a right turn is causing issues. But I don't want to restrict it because we do have quite a lot of public transport coming through this area. And if we block it, that means those buses are going to have to take a longer route to the bus station. But I can also see that through this city block, we've got a lot of congestion as well. So I think for this area, it might be worth adding some restrictions, making areas bus and taxi only, and anybody that wants to come through this area could take a longer route round. So to start off, we'll make this intersection heading into the area a priority route so that any vehicles crossing in its path has to yield. And then we'll add a little bit more capacity for vehicles, especially buses that want to turn right. We'll add in an extra lane. And then using node controller, I'm going to stretch out some of these segments to make them a little bit smoother and to make those turns a little bit wider. Although I want to be careful of some of my line work, don't want the paint covering the pedestrian crossing here, and I don't want to have to redo it either. So we'll just stretch that out and align it nicely. Although with these wider corners, we do have some overlap with the fence and the bushes. So let's go ahead and clean that up. We don't necessarily need to have a fence around the park. We'll keep it open and green. And that looks good. I quite like that. So I can see that the buses are trying to make their way across this intersection. But I think there's also some personal vehicles coming through as well. But I don't think we can add an extra lane on the road bridge because we just don't have the space, especially with the tram track that's going through the middle. So I think instead what we can do is we can convert a part of this small segment of road into a bus lane road. However, we are going to have to use Road Builder again because you can't add bus lanes in vanilla to any lane except for the most outer lane. So we'll add that on the inside lane here. And then what we'll do is we'll connect the bridge road using Traffic's lane connector tool so that it can only enter into the bus lane. And that should, in theory, filter out any other vehicles except for taxis and buses. And I think that's looking pretty good. Let's go ahead and extend this bus lane all the way in front of the bus station here. Any other vehicles can find a longer route round. We've got a lot of congestion here already. There's no need to add to that congestion. Okay, with those changes in place, we can have a look from above and see how the whole area is functioning. And it's looking pretty good. We're not seeing big backups on the bridge like we used to. There's a little bit of a jam, but I think it's manageable. Let's go ahead and fix up this pedestrian path. allowing there to be a little bit access through here, and finish off the area with a few bushes and trees. Okay, so I've just spotted the first bus reaching the end of our new and improved extended bus line. So let's go ahead and follow it and see what it looks like as it passes through these new bus stops. The first one coming up is a part of the industrial estate. It has to pass through this dual carriageway intersection, and I think this is looking pretty good. So let's fast forward and see what it looks like as it passes through the new bus gate. So my understanding is traffic lights usually prioritize public transport, and it looks like that's what's happening right here. The bus weaves through the junction so quickly and easily, and it makes its next stop at the supermarket. Fantastic. Okay, so just a little episode today, and I wanted to work on a build that wasn't necessarily going to be big and impactful. We recently just received the patch, and I wasn't too sure whether the latest version of the game was stable, since I was having a lot of issues loading into the game. However, I've heard that's been fixed now, so fortunately everything that we've worked today in the city should be functioning. So as we watch this bus pass through our crazy roundabout, we can reflect on the improvements that have come with the latest patch. It has improved waiting times for public transport at train stations. I'm also seeing a big boost in FPS. And in case you missed it, we also did a little stream before the patch dropped. And I'm going to include a few highlights in today's episode. So enjoy that, and we'll see you next time in Sunny Isle. Well, first of all, I use sunglasses. To me, I feel like it just brightens up the city a lot more, makes it a little bit brighter. And these are my settings for sunglasses, which are quite different to the default settings. And then in preserve photo mode, it's pretty important to set your time of day. It does depend on the map as well. So I think for time and weather anarchy, I set the latitude, longitude to 0 pretty much. And then I come in here and I set this to 8 o'clock. It depends how long you like your shadows. And then when it comes to color edits, these are the only settings I use. I use post exposure. I set that to 1.1. And this is what it looks like without it. So again, it's not really necessary. And then shadows, I literally just have those set to 0, which is the default. And that just takes away some of the yellow and makes it just feel a little bit brighter. So we have an area of the map called the Airport Economic Zone, which is in the north, and this is an area that I've earmarked airport development. This whole area could be used as some sort of like airport zone, since the airports that we get in the game are so small. I think let's just have a look at this. So this is the vanilla airport, and I believe from some of the other creator builds that I've seen, this should be at least 3 times bigger. But unfortunately, I think due to some restrictions with the way that assets can be created, there's a certain limit to the footprint. So I do have one of these air transport blocks by StarQ, and I believe they work. Let's go for a 2 mile. Yes. So you can see here what an actual runway should be like. So I imagine Sunny Isle being pretty small, we'd go for one of the smaller runways like this. I'm still deciding whether just to do something vanilla here with the vanilla airport or to do something modded. I'll have to read the chat and read the comments afterwards to see what you guys think. I bet most of you are going to say just do a modded one because that's way more exciting. Is the high-speed train working? No passengers and 1 stop on the panel. Okay, let's have a look. Oh yeah, 1 stop. It looks like it may have disconnected. There you go, you're right. Thank you very much. I've not touched this line probably for about a year. And if that's not been working for a year, that might explain why we've got so much traffic down by our border. Because this has been a constant traffic jam for about 12 months, all the way to the edge of the map. It's not at a standstill, it's not frozen. There's no traffic issues actually causing a backup. It's just a filter, a very slow filter. And I think visually, for a border, that just does something to me. That I was like, this looks realistic. If there was no traffic here and it was just empty, I'd be sorely disappointed for sure. Poplar said, I think airports would need to be a full DLC so you can draw out the runways and taxiways. Yeah, absolutely. It's the same with ports. Like, you can. The reason why the vanilla port, the original port, is the way it is because of the limitations of those single assets. So being able to break it up into a DLC and add all the elements together is absolutely crucial. At least we already see the blueprint of how it can be done. So it gives me a lot of optimism for the future. The 2x5, should we give that a go? 10 car. That's okay, I'm happy with that. I think that should fit. We'll have a look at what it looks like when it's in the train station itself. I'm just ignoring all this traffic. This train is perfect. Thank you so much for that suggestion. That fits in there perfectly, especially with the French train station, which is slightly longer than the vanilla train stations. But we've got these industrial assets that might work. And there's a floating water tower there, but I don't hate it. Maybe I do. It's got strange legs. I'll remove that. And then this little truck here, we'll just move that over. This little box, we'll put that in between. So we bring an alleyway along here. And then we just need to snap this on. Yeah, I'll set it back a little bit because it looks like these docks are not raised. So they will need to use a forklift or something. A lot of patience, a lot of people coming in here, and you can even see you've got people coming from the train station, taking public transport just to come to this medical practice. And I like to imagine this probably specializes in some sort of particular treatment. It could be a children's hospital, but I like Mayor Cheek's Children's Hospital. Since he is a child, like he is a 5-year-old that plays City Skylines and streams on Twitch. Okay, I think that's pretty good. Let's go into packs. Let's find that dropper. There we go. Look at this. And it should be animated. Yeah, look at this. Now, I don't know whether we'll actually see any people using it, but I think this is a great addition to the entertainment area. Since this is all about temporary structures, we've got the sports ground, we've got the tennis, we've got the water park. This might actually bring some people down here. Oh, it spins as well. That's so cool. Now, we could get rid of those bushes because I don't think that's really realistic on this concrete surface. I wonder how long it takes to get to the top. Greenbuild is asking why is it in the port. So this port is the first port that we put down in Sunny Isle, maybe episode 3 or 4, and it got decommissioned. The port was decommissioned when we built the new train terminal, and it was just a big slab of concrete. And while the city decides what to do with it, they decided to rent out the grounds to these businesses that can use it for temporary purposes. There we go. So that's where we've got the sports pavilion, we've got eateries, we've got pop-up, we've got craft food shops, we've got outdoor basketball center with lots of surface parking because there's just a lot of concrete here. And the story is one day this area may be developed into something a little bit grander once the investment comes in. Thank you everybody for sticking around to the end of the video. I really appreciate it. And I think next time we'll either have to start at the airport because I feel like I've been talking about it for long enough, or maybe have a look at something else. Whatever we do, Sunny Isle is prospering. Although traffic is crazy, our public transport is functioning well. And as always, take care and goodbye.